Day 13. Day 13. Hustler University, the path to a six-figure business. Right now, there's a lot of stuff. There are some people that are like going, I can't do it. This is too much. I don't want to ask people for stuff. The thing is, you should be scrambling. You should be overwhelmed. You should literally be freaking out because I'm asking you to do things you've never, ever done before. And I know exactly how you would feel. Exactly. The first time I got one of those jobs, and it's one of those jobs that everyone hates, outside sales, where you're going out and knocking on people's doors and they're looking at you crazy. And some folks would just tell you, get off my stoop. I mean, that kind of stuff. And it's very, very brutal because you will receive a ton of rejection over and over and over. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't. It's actually kind of like it sucks. And that's what you can go through when you're doing some of the challenges of the Hustler University. But the thing is, you have to understand the people that are living the lives of design and intent got there by doing things that other people refuse to do. I know you're going to laugh when I say this, but this time next year, if you stick with it, you'll look back and you'll laugh. And you're like, I thought that was hard. It's like if you're in the gym and the first time you do 135, 10, 15 times, you think that's big stuff. If you continue to work out, you continue to add poundage, depending upon your genetics, within 8 months to 2 years, you'll be at 2 something to 3 something benching. And you'll laugh. It's like, man, I was struggling with 135. That's the same thing with this. As you go forward, you'll grow and you'll gain more skill sets. You'll gain more confidence. And I'm telling you this because I went through this very thing. Look at all of the heat that I get on YouTube for saying, hey, I am a salesperson. I own a company and I want you to buy my products. People are like, oh God, no, don't say that. I even had someone say, well, if you were so good, you wouldn't have to tell people you were good, and then they would buy it. And I was like, no one says that when BMW goes, the ultimate driving machine. No one says that. I mean, look at the companies that advertise relentlessly. They have to. But I got to the point where rejection, dissenters, crazy people, they don't bother me like they used to. They used to bother me to the point they would knock me off my horse. I don't even flinch now. You have to get there. And the only way that you're going to get there is to practice putting yourself out there. The more times you put yourself out there, the faster you do it, the more that you will learn. Okay, now this is a technique that will help you get a lot of stuff done. The power of 8. Take your most 8 pressing tasks. I don't care whatever they are. Create a list. Then put them in order of importance. And begin working on number 1 at the exclusion of the other 7 until you're done with number 1. Even if number 1 takes a week. Even if number 1 takes 2 weeks. Even if number 1 takes 3 weeks or a month. Get it done. Then you move on into 2. Then move on to 3. This cycle will help you get so much stuff done. It will knock your socks off, because one of the things is multitasking is not overrated. Multitasking is dangerous. You become splintered. You become just totally diffused. And when you start to focus, you'll see a lot of changes. You'll see results. There's so many positive things that come from seeing results. Number 1, your self-esteem is enhanced. Your confidence is through the roof. And you develop something that's very, very important. You develop a habit of getting things done. You'll become that person in your family that's like, well, let's give it to so and so because they get things done. That's an important skill set to have. When you learn to get stuff done, you can change your life. So that's it. That's the simple thing. It's just get stuff done and stop putting stuff off. Another thing you have to do, and doing this list will really bring it out, is create focus. What are you focusing on? One of the things that I see on YouTube is people are like, well, I'm going to do bikes, and I'm going to do clothing, and I'm going to do Barbie dolls, and I'm going to do makeup. And they're doing all this stuff without a grand plan, without robust eBay IDs. If you have an eBay ID with 100,000 feedback, there's a lot of stuff you can run through there. You have to focus and start blazing your own paths. That's one of the reasons that I'm not doing, well, hey, this Yahtzee, or hey, this Ralph Lauren shirt, or hey, this computer. Go look for that. That stuff is temporary. Learn to build, source, and find your own stuff. That's more permanent. You could possibly stumble on an item that can make you money for a year or 2 or 3 by doing your own research. But if it's on YouTube and everyone knows about it, and when I say everyone, there's a small handful of sellers that know about it. But I want you to understand, the economy isn't getting better for everyone. For a group of people, it's going like gangbusters. But someone put it up in a group, and it was kind of a little dicey, but the thought of it wasn't preposterous, that a McDonald's had put an ad up that the cashier must have a college degree. And there was some retraction. I don't know if it was true or not, but that's really not too far off in the future. You're going to have a degree to get low-level wage jobs. You're going to have a degree to get a $10 job. When you think about it, it's pathetic, but it's coming. Because there's a glut of people with degrees in the marketplace, and these people that have these degrees in the marketplace don't have the skill sets that people want. Hence, they can't get paid. They can only do what someone else without a degree can do, but since they have a degree, that's in a form of enhancement. They may even get an extra 25 cents or maybe 52 cents per hour more. That big money. They balling. Being totally facetious, but create focus. The secret to success is focus and consistency. If you follow this method, you will get more stuff done in the next month than you probably did in the last 3. Stabbing fear in the eye. Right now, some of you are so far away from your fence, away from your comfort zone, that you are bug-eyed and looking around going, where the hell am I? Understand, this was by design. I know exactly how you feel. I was there. This is the reason I'm doing this. When you expand yourself, you expand your opportunities. Doing what you did last year is not going to get you new results. You have to do something totally different. A big part of that is fear. Maybe people won't like me. Maybe people thinking I'm trying to get over. Maybe people are going to say bad things and point and laugh. And maybe all of that will happen. Maybe none of it will happen. You can't concern yourself on what may happen to the point that it prevents you from doing anything. When you become incapacitated in that manner, you become stagnant. Your life is not too far removed from a grave. You just existed. But understand, this is definitely boundary challenging. You're like sitting there, other people may even be talking about you. Your kids may be laughing at you because you are showing traits and actions that you have not shown before, and everyone's kind of spooked. It's like, what is mom doing? What is dad doing? I get it all the time. The guys watch me, and if they're not paying enough attention to their girlfriend or their wife, why are you watching that guy on YouTube? If what he say is good, he'd be doing it, and he wouldn't be on YouTube. So you shouldn't watch him, and you should come over here and rub my back or neck or something. Anytime that you expand and change yourself, you stir up a hornet's nest of energy that is not favorable, because everything's changing. You're like disrupting the air. Like when a rock gets thrown into a pond and that ripple effect happens, your thoughts, your actions, that same thing is happening, and it's going to get some blowback. You're going to be like, what the hell? And do not allow the fear to win. Don't. If you allow the fear to win, you will regret it. This will become one of those regrets, because that will haunt you. It will haunt you. I remember in 8th grade honors English, and we were talking about Emily Dickinson, and first thing that came to my mind, because there was a general theme of her poems, that it was better to live in anticipation of a thing than to actually do the thing. First word that popped in my head was coward. I have learned, and your experiences may be different, but I've learned that it's better to fail, find out, know where you stand, versus to wonder for a day, a week, months, or years. People do that. They have this thing they want to do, and when they finally summon the courage or something forces them to do it, they're like, oh God, I was afraid of this. It happens so often. And another thing, we live in a culture where people are taught to be humble and meek. I'm going to do a separate video on that one day. Be just thankful for crumbs. Be thankful for mediocrity. Be thankful. Just be thankful for any and everything, which I agree. You should be thankful. But you should also be thankful that you can do more and you can get more. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want out of life. Don't be afraid, because you can't get what you're afraid of, if that makes any sense. If you're one of those people that goes around bashing rich people, you'll never be rich. If you're one of those guys that think all really pretty women are bitches and evil, you'll never get one. Because your projective, preconceived notions of what you think they should be, whether they're that thing or not, are going to pop out and run around the room and mess up your opportunity. You cannot have the things that you hate or are afraid of. One of the stupidest things that so many people say is, I'm afraid of love. Really? You can't get it. You should be afraid of being alone, because that's what being afraid of love is going to get you. Being alone. And I'm not talking about in a romantic sense. I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about a circle of acquaintances. There's a lot of things that go with that. So stab fear in the eye. Just get it. And you may have to do this. When I was a punk, I'll admit it, it's true. I was a punk. You might have to pump yourself up in your house when no one's around, do stuff. I remember when my daughter was having problems with some math, and we were sitting at the kitchen table, and every time she was struggling, I was like, okay, do this. I can do it. And like, put your hands up in the air, right? And she just looked at me, and I was like, do it. She do it, and then she got a little energy, a little enthusiasm, and she started working out the problems, because that fear will turn off part of your brain that you need. Because if you're trying to solve a problem and you're shutting down sectors of your brain because of fear, doubt, bad narratives, you are hampering your efforts to move forward. So you have to really handle that stuff. Remember, there's no shame in being afraid. Don't be afraid to ask what you want in life. There's no shame in asking for what you want. None. Very, very important here. Hustle time. Many people put their hustle on the back burner. Sometimes people do that with their relationships. Understand you're busy. You have a family, 2.9 kids, the dog, and the hamster. But just like you set an appointment to go to the doctor, just like you set an appointment to get your hair done, you need to set hustle time appointments. Learn to devote 2 to 4 hours a day, every day, to items on your list. No Facebook, no YouTube. None of this stuff during your hustle time. If your hustle time is only 1 hour a day of solid work, so be it. You'll move forward because you will get stuff done. I wrote my first book in 3 months using these methods that I just gave you. Focus. I had a plan. I'm going to write X amount of words a day. Didn't work out. I had to work my way up to it. I am not going to go out. I'm going, if I meet my word goal, I can go out Friday for a drink. That was the contract I made with myself. There were some Fridays I didn't go out because I didn't meet my goal. It was like, you got to be that real with yourself. You got to treat what you want that serious. Because as long as it's an afterthought or it's not priority, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. So understand, hustle time. Get your calendar out. Mark on the calendar. Tell your friends, your families that, on such and such hours that, you're working on something. If you're at home and you have little kids, train your kids. Say, okay, when you see this sign on the door, mommy or dad's busy. Now, if you have an emergency or there's blood or something, let me know. But, I'm busy. And, it's a training lesson because, for them, not being able to reach the candy bar can be an emergency. A true emergency that can bring on a lot of angst. I want that candy bar. So, understand, you have to treat your hustle time as if it's super important because it is. Now, a lot of this stuff that I'm giving you, people think it's insane. I used to tell my friends and they just thought I was nuts. And it's like, because they were stuck in a 9-to-5 world. They were stuck in a I get paid every 2 weeks world. When you free yourself from the confines of that narrative, your life will open up. All right, this is Glendon, Day 13, Hustle University. I will see you on the good side.